Hello, boys and girls. Before we get to the 10 amazing drinks that will impress anybody in the world, I'm going to give you a quick introduction on what you're going to learn in this program and what you're not. So first, let's start off with what this program is not. This is not an A through Z mixology course where you're going to learn everything about everything. Jesse, Jason, and I are not experts by any means. In fact, when it comes to mixology, we're actually amateurs. Now, how would I know that? But to 99% of the world, we can look like experts. And that is what this course is all about. If we can do it, so can you. Here's the truth, guys. 99% of people in the world know absolutely nothing about alcohol. When you go to a bar with your friends, or even if you look at other people and see what they order, they're gonna get things like a rum and Coke, Jack and Coke, vodka Red Bull. If they get really creative, maybe they might get a Long Island or a Cosmopolitan, but these are all standard drinks that are really, really boring and everybody knows them. So if you know how to make a few complex and very unique cocktails that nobody's really ever tried before, you become an expert in their eyes. And I don't even lie about it. If people ask me, like, am I a bartender, am I a mixologist, I say, no, I'm just an amateur that knows how to make a few good drinks. And even though I say that, they still think that I'm a boss at doing this because these drinks, again, are very unique and they've never, ever had anything like it before. On top of that, guys who know how to make drinks are very sexy to girls. Bartenders have this reputation of sleeping with a lot of women, and that's because they can make a great drink. Now, the drinks you're gonna learn in this course are better than the vast majority of the drinks that bartenders can make. After learning this is actually gonna give you a very good foundation to build on. Although we're not absolute experts at mixology, we do know quite a lot about alcohol and bartending. So in this program, you're gonna learn all the different equipment we're gonna use, the different techniques, the different alcohols, different flavors, and a lot more. Now with that said, let's get started on the equipment and some of the basic techniques that you're gonna learn throughout this course. Let's start with the glassware. And glassware is really important because just like everything else that's good in life, it's not about the end result, it's about the journey of getting there. So glasses help you make the journey a little bit better. It helps make the experience of whoever's drinking the cocktail a lot better as well. So this, first of all, is a martini glass. This is a glass that you want to chill. I like to put it in the freezer right before I start making a drink. This is called a rocks glass. And lastly, this is called a Collins glass. There are a lot of other different types of glassware out there, but in this program, we're only gonna be using these three glasses to keep it simple. And by the way, you might notice that a lot of these things look extravagant and they look cool and they look expensive, and they are. And that's because I'm part of the 1% and you're not. I'm just kidding. Now, when you look around, this might look a little bit intimidating to you because these things are very lavish looking, some of them are expensive, but you can actually get things for really, really cheap. So you don't have to go all out and spend a lot of money on these things. The glassware, for example, I know they sell plastic ones that look really nice for really, really cheap. And IKEA has really cheap glass as well. You don't have to buy the best of the best. Next, we have the shakers. There's two types of shakers. We're only gonna be using the Boston shaker, but I'll present to you both of them just so you know. This is called a cobbler. And this is a three-piece shaker, basically, where the cap, you put it on to shake. After that, you use this, it has holes to strain the alcohol. And then this, obviously, is to put ingredients in. You can use this, it's a lot easier, it's a lot more convenient, but what I like to use is a Boston shaker, and this is the classic bartending tool. The Boston shaker is a bartender's choice because it holds a lot more liquid and it just looks cooler. When it comes to shaking, the cobbler is a lot easier to use because it's just a cap, put it on, you shake it, and then you pour it out. When it comes to the Boston shaker, it's a little bit more complicated, and that's why I like to use it because it's more of an art. What you want to do is, first of all, put all of your ingredients in the small tin, ice in the big tin, pour the ingredients in, and then shake it. Now, when you put it in, you don't want to put it straight in like this because it's going to be hard to take out. You want to put it in at an angle and then tap it like that. So it's touching the rim of the big tin. Now, opening it is a tricky technique that it took me about a couple weeks to learn. What you want to do is put your thumb on where the small tin hits the big tin, and then you take your other hand and hit the big tin really, really hard. A lot of people see me do this and they think I'm hitting the small one, but no, you're hitting the big one. So you just go like that, and it's really easy to take out. Now let's talk about shaking. This is a very underestimated technique when it comes to making cocktails. It's statistically proven, a lot of people don't know this, but it's statistically proven that how you shake your cocktails is how you perform in bed. So if you're shaking it like this, you're probably a 2-pump chump. If you're going like this, you're probably one of those people that's too aggressive and just like pulls people's hair, and nobody wants that. You want to shake it vigorously, fairly, but like a man. You know, that's what girls want. They want a man. This is a Hawthorne strainer. After you've shaken everything up and it's good to go, you don't want all the little bits and pieces of mint and cucumber and ice to go in it, or ice sometimes, but you don't want all the little bits and pieces to go in it. So you use this, put it over the tin, and what you do is called closing the gap. So you can do this with one hand, and when you push this in like that, that's called closing the gap. You want to close the gap more for drinks that have a lot of little bits and pieces, and you don't have to do it that much for drinks that are mostly liquid. Now we're going to get into some basic tools that we're going to be using throughout this program. First of all, you need a paring knife. It's just a small knife that you use on limes, lemons, oranges to cut fruit. First of all, before you do that, you need to roll the lime because it yields more juice when you squeeze it this way. Also, you want to roll it on your cutting board and not your counter because sometimes it stains your counter, especially if your counter is white like this. Now, when you cut it, there's 2 ways to cut it. I like to call it hamburger style and hot dog style. And this is what I learned in 1st grade. Hot dog style is cutting it the long way, so going from end to end. And hamburger style is cutting it the short way, just going from side to side. In this situation, we're going to cut it hamburger style, so I can show you how it goes in the citrus squeezer, which is also something you need. Looking at the shape of this, a lot of people think that you put the lime in like that. You don't. You put it in the opposite way that the squeezer is shaped. So you go like that, and afterward, all the juices come out of these holes at the bottom. This is a muddler. Keep in mind that this is not used to pulverize things and make a slushy out of it. It's used to extract the juices and the oils out of limes, lemons, mints, and whatever you put inside your tin. You're also going to need some ice. I'm going to be using this little case right here because our producer told us so. Usually I just get it out of the freezer. I also like to have a towel just right next to me so I can wipe my hands so it doesn't get too dirty. Some straws for the drinks that uses straws. And you're going to see me using this little thing right here. It's just a rubber pad so that I can put my wet cups on so it doesn't get all flooded all over the counter. You don't have to have this because it's a little bit pricey. I actually stole this from a bar, and that's why I have tape over it because I don't want the bar to know that I stole it from them. One other thing I want to talk about is jiggers. Now these are called jiggers, and they come in various sizes. The ones I have are 1 ounce and ½ ounce, and also a 1 ounce and 2 ounce for when I want to make multiple drinks at the same time. You should use these because it makes the drinks more exact and more consistent. It's kind of like baking. You know, if you were baking a cake, would you be eyeing the ingredients and just putting like a handful of flour in here, a handful of sugar in there? No, you want to measure it out, and it's the same with drinks. Now when you're using the jigger, what you want to do is pour it right next to your tin. So you don't want to pour it out here because what happens is then you're left with a full jigger and then you're trying to get it really, really even and balanced, and then you pour it in, and that doesn't look sexy. What looks sexy is going like this, putting it right next to it, and right when it fills to the top, bam, you spill it in. Very, very easy to do, but again, it takes time to practice because you get nervous at first and you don't want to spill everything. On that note, also, don't be afraid to spill around because you're using a cutting board, sometimes you might be using a rubber mat. It's not a big deal. If you spill, just clean it up. And there you have it. These are all the basic equipment and techniques you're going to need to make the drinks that you're going to see in this program. Now, it's time to get drunk.